Okay, what is up? Today's video is what is the political ideology of each D&D class? And this is not a scientific answer. This is just something I came up with, right? Someone was like, I saw this video that was like, parody of the Jubilee surrounded format where you have like one socialist and 20 Trump supporters, whatever. And yeah, it was a D&D parody of like one paladin and 20 Vecna supporters. Pretty funny. I definitely recommend it, and I'll probably link it down below. But yeah, I showed it to a friend, and she was like, "I mean, are paladins like socialists? Like, what do you think?" And I was like, "It's a bit apples to oranges. I think it's hard to compare them, but let me give it my best shot." So, paladins, in my mind, are like the religious right. They're the fighters, they're the holy warriors, and they like fight for their beliefs, right? Clerics, on the other hand, are the religious center slash religious left. They're more concerned about like helping the poor, helping the needy. Um, Still like very devout, right? But not like as focused on that. Then we get to like rangers and rogues, which in my mind are the rural and urban, respectively, libertarians slash primitivists, right? Um, I guess, yeah, rogue would be more like libertarian anarchist, whereas ranger would be more like primitivist, but both of them would be like anti-government in my mind. Uh, but then a lot of people are like, well, druids are really like rangers, so would they be like that? And no, I think druids in my mind are like socialists, right? Very like one with nature, very like kumbaya, uh, very like we're all just living together in the forest, hanging out, Um, Plants good, animals good, all that stuff good. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at so far with that. And then bards, I would probably give the liberal label to, and that's because they're very like artsy, very focused on like, you know, promoting like culture and like a good just art direction, right? Street performers, that kind of thing, but very much lib in my mind. Um, Barbarians, I would say, are like very much like tribalists, like alpha male wins, alpha male rules, right? Uh, like chiefdoms, that kind of thing. That's where I think they're at, kind of like a more a government from a bygone age, I suppose. Who else do we have? We have monks, which I would say are like they're sort of like non-religious to me because they're more focused on like meditating on the universe or whatever. But culturally, I would say they're so like into discipline that I would probably put them a bit right. Um, Fighters, kind of, it's sort of like asking like, what's the political affiliation of the American liberty? No, not the American liberty, the American military, which you would assume is right leaning, but like has a lot of minorities in it, so it can be like uh, quite Democrat leaning as well. But overall, relatively conservative. I think. I think fighters, just as a default, will say are like Trump supporters, like MAGA, right? They're fighters. They have Second Amendment rights on their bows. Did you know that? And yeah, they're willing to fight like hell. Literally, that's their job as fighters. So yeah, and it's also a pretty varied class. So I think this one could be pretty much any ideology, but we'll just go with MAGA as a default. Um, who else do we have? We have artificers. Artificers are a hard one. I would say to me they're like ancestral Dem trade unionists, right? Like pretty much like they kind of have like a working class vibe to me, but they're not. They're obviously making magical things, but that's just if I had to put them somewhere, I would probably say slightly apolitical, but we'll go with ancestral dem trade unionist for now. Um, then we have wizard. Wizard, in my mind, is like the academic left, right? Um, or it's not exactly the academic left. It's more like doctors, which I think lean left, but there are definitely a lot of conservative doctors. If that makes sense, like medical doctors. So I would say wizards are kind of like the academic left, but also more like doctors who just slightly lean left, as far as I know. We have warlocks. And warlocks, I think, are conspiracy theorists, right? Which in America tend to disproportionately lean right. But there's certainly like conspiracy theories on the left as well, right? Like the 9/11 was faked or whatever. So, I mean, I think that they could be either, right? But maybe if in American context they would lean right, but like we'll just go with straight up conspiracy theorists for now, right? They're conspiracy theorists who believe that the aliens are out there and will give them magical powers, but they can't prove it until they actually go out and get magical powers. And I think that just leaves sorcerers, if I'm remembering correctly, which are kind of apolitical. If anything, I feel like sorcerers are like... This is so off base, okay? This is probably the weakest one out of all of these, but I feel like sorcerers are kind of like Jews. When I say that, I just mean like they're just minding their own business, but some people blame sorcerers for everything. Okay? That's the political vibe I get from them. I think that one's probably the weakest. There's probably a better answer for sorcerers. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, hopefully I got all of them.